Well, everything's a hit on this channel. We don't have misses.
Mm-mm,
So, oh,
not
look
at
at that.
all.
We're live. Welcome, everybody. This is 2A Tuesday. It is Tuesday night. And like always, we are coming at you live from Nebraska. So, my name is Sandhills. You can call me John if you want to, but most everybody knows me as Sandhills or Sandy around here. We've got some stuff we're going to talk about tonight. We've got a couple people have already joined us over on the our live panel here. I'm getting feedback from over there. Hold on. We're going to have to find our speakers and turn them off. It's not working.
Sounds good on our end, dude. I'm not hearing it over here. You might be on your end, but
Just get it right there. Right. There you go. All right. We're good. This is what happens when your studio is also the home office and everybody sits together. Sometimes we get a little sound walking on, but that's all right. So of course we've got Sandhills Sweetheart in the over on the YouTube side joining us, and she is like I said, just off the camera here over on her own computer. So anybody wants to talk to her, she's in the YouTube chat. And who else do we have over there? We had Josieola was in there bright and early. Jason Stewart, SS Pawn. What's up, Stan?
oh,
Gun
Stan's
loving.
watching.
What's that?
Oh, I said Stan's watching. Cool.
Stan's watching. Yep, Stan
Nice.
figured out who I am apparently from a little
Oh, we
bit
were
of
talking
caliber
about
corner.
you the other day in the shop, so don't worry. I put in a good
Were
word
ya?
for you. Yep. I said this
Well,
is the show to watch, man.
I don't know if you guys what you said, but Stan, I'm here to tell you there's two kinds of stories out there about me. There's some good stuff and there's some true stuff. But the good stuff ain't real true, and the true stuff ain't real good.
But the true
Just
stuff sure is good.
So welcome, Stan. We've also got gun loving Grandpa Stanley. So what's up, Buck? Local 223 in the
So
house.
is that the Stanley? We have the Travi and the Stanley now. Is there the Stanley? There's two Stanleys. Is there the Stanley? It'd be two Stanleys, right? Plural
Well, you know
Stanley.
what? I think that they all, just in deference to the great Stan Lee.
Oh, okay.
You know, it's cool to have the name Stan.
It is. That's right.
One of the coolest guys that.
Power tools, man. Power tools.
That's right. A guy named Stan helped shape a huge part of my childhood. So
there you
saying.
go. Yep.
Let's see. Local 223, Agorizer, Too Hottie, Fusano 10, Andrew Faulkner. Tack Daddy's out in the house. What's up, Kevin? Midnight Range TM. And there'll be more people come through, and we'll try and shout some people out as we see them. Also, over on the gun channel side, we've got David Bowling there, and David's in the panel as well. So go join us on gun channels. I know it's a little extra work, but it's a cool place to be. If you haven't joined gun channels yet, then what the heck's wrong with you? Gunchannels.com. It's free. It doesn't cost anything, and you can talk to all kinds of people about any kind of 2A stuff, gun stuff, whatever you're into, collecting or antiques or competition or hunting, whatever it is, there's somebody there that likes what you like. So go check that out. Ghost is in the house, also over there on the YouTube side. So, all right, let's let everybody say hi real quick. I don't know if he is available to talk right now. I know he's traveling, and he was going to have to pull off the highway and make a stop here pretty soon. But Calaveras, if you're there, we'll let you say hi, and if not, we'll just come back to you when you're available again. But he is our resident Californian. We're torn because we'd like to spring him from behind the Iron Curtain, but at the same time, he can do a lot of good fighting from within too. So we don't necessarily want to take all of our gun-loving allies out of California and just concede that ground. We don't want to do that either. So he must not be available right now, but we'll catch up with him when he is available again. So let's talk to Kingpin. What's going on, David?
Not too much. Thanks for having me. Always a pleasure.
Absolutely. Next up, we've got Squibload in the house.
I'm hiding in my boss's office.
That is probably the best place to hide.
I have stooped to a new low.
Oh my God.
Is that really a new low, or is that a new high?
No. Other people hide from work in here. I'm hiding from other people.
When I worked in the grocery store, we used to go hide back in the dairy cooler. So, you could get behind some boxes and take a nap. So,
Squib, I'm not calling you out here, but I'm just not so sure I agree with your logic. If people go in there to hide from work, and you're going there to hide from people, why would you go to the place that people go to hide?
Oh, crap.
if the door has a lock on her, you can push a file cabinet up against the door.
No, it's like your logic goes around in a complete circle, like hunting rabbits. Oh no, I got to get out of here. I'll talk to you later.
All right, and then last but not least, the closest unofficial official co-host that I've got from also the great state of Nebraska, the king of the Travi Collective himself, Travis P11.
Thank you, my loyal subjects. Thank you. But no, anyway, man, no, I appreciate the invite. Thank you very much. Let's see, Caliber Corner, check it out. Saturday morning, 8 a.m. Central Time over on gunchannels.com. And also that'll be moving to Thursday nights from 5 to 7 Central Time starting in April. I got a few changes coming up here for the weekends. I'm not going to be available Saturday mornings anymore. So that's going to change. But otherwise, a lot of great content on the channel. And make sure you guys subscribe to everybody here on the panel. They got great content. And get over to gunchannels.com. And don't forget, they got the 2A patch fundraiser going on over on Indiegogo. We'll try to post a link in this podcast. You can find out about that too. Thanks, man.
Yep, thanks for being here.
Cool.
All right. So we have got, let me get this popped out here so I can kind of see things a little bit better over here. Who else is saying hi to us over there? I saw, Hill Climb, Ohio, JB is in the house. 2 Live Moo is out there. So we've got some people joining up with us. That's pretty good. We've got, hopefully we'll get a few more people maybe in the chat or in the panel as well. So we can make this nice and lively. So what we're going to talk about tonight is, first of all, we're going to address an article I read here recently regarding Levi Strauss and Company, which, I mean, if you think about it, Levi Strauss was one of the early companies making the original blue jeans. Started out, sewing them out of canvas and eventually moved over to the denim fabric. And I mean, the people that helped settle this country, helped form this country, wore those products. And, those people all went around armed. So I find it to be very, very disappointing, disheartening that Levi Strauss would take such an anti-gun position with their company. The CEO has recently announced that they want to enter into a partnership with Bloomberg, basically, with Everytown for Gun Safety and a few other groups, I believe, that are also financed by Bloomberg. And so to the point where the CEO has even announced that he's willing to pay Levi's employees, I think it's up to 50 hours a year to volunteer or donate some of their time to the Everytown for Gun Safety or some of those organizations. So you can be a Levi's employee and go work against gun owners and actually get paid for your time up to a certain point. So like I said, it's with a heavy heart that I read that, thinking that, this was one of the great companies that helped build America, really. And yet now they don't want to remember their roots or who made them what they are. So if we think about companies like Levi Strauss, Dick's Sporting Goods, a few others, that have come out and said, we don't want to be affiliated anymore with the Second Amendment or the gun crowd or the gun owners, and kind of alienize people a little bit. First of all, is it okay? Is it not okay to talk about a boycott? I mean, it's one thing to just say, I'm not going to buy their products. Is it different to say, hey, everybody, this is happening. Let's, as gun owners, band together and all of us agree not to give them any more money? Is this something we should do, shouldn't do as gun owners? What do you guys think?
Here's the deal. The company, the CEO, they have every right to take whatever stance they want to. That's part of this country, is being able to speak your mind, whether you agree with it or disagree with it. Now, as customers and as free will purchasing consumers, we have a right to generate any kind of interest or activism we want in a product and a company that doesn't support our needs, whether it's our freedom and rights or the products that we purchase. I think it's absolutely fine for us to discuss and encourage it, because maybe in the end, we don't think that what they're pushing for is what's best for America.
Certainly not best for
I have
us.
a question on that, though. That's where, because it's specifically with that agent, with Everytown, which is a Bloomberg funded, is there any information as to maybe Bloomberg having investments of some sort in Levi, and that's part of why they're going that particular anti-gun? Or that's what I'm wondering. For them to, rather than, like some companies will say, we will, as an incentive, for our people to, go do, community service of one kind or another, but without specifying for one particular, group. So that's for the fact that they specifically, said, for every town makes me wonder.
The Levi CEO has come out and said that it's the CEOs of America. It's their responsibility to ensure that we don't have any more gun tragedies in this country. That's what he said. You can look up his quote. He feels it's his personal mission to ensure that gun violence ends in America, which he doesn't seem to be looking at where the violence comes from or who causes it or how they get the guns that actually cause it, and what people can do to defend themselves. So that's his stance on it. That's how he feels about it. He's whatever.
Well, and out here on the YouTube side, I carry my revolver in single action as saying that cowboys always like Levi's. Yeah, exactly. And like I said, the people that helped build and form this nation, a lot of them wore either jeans or overalls or whatever from Levi Strauss. And I just think that they're forgetting where they come from a little bit. And I understand that companies change, evolve. You get a different CEO, they have different ideas, but this is the kind of stuff that can happen when somebody blurs the line between business and politics, right? So
Yeah.
We saw that with Dick's, and I haven't read the article. Earlier today, I saw a headline come through. It appears to me, and somebody can correct me if I'm wrong, but the stores, Dick's Sporting Goods stores, are getting rid of all their guns now because the gun community pretty well has stopped going through their doors. And
they're pulling firearms out of 125 stores out of 850 something stores
so
in the
not all of
country.
them.
Not all of them, no, but they're probably going to pull it from those areas where they want to make a good impression with whatever the popular opinion is about guns in that particular market.
Yeah. So I mean, it's not, we don't have the impact that I thought we did maybe by not going in there. I quit going into Dick's a long time ago because they didn't have anything to draw me in. Even their tiny little corner in the back of the gun stuff and the hunting stuff was never, it didn't even, it wasn't much better than Walmart.
They're down about 10% overall from where they were last year in terms of their sales, and they're attributing it to their hunting. The taking out of firearms, the lack of sales is hurting them. I was doing some research on their financial position right now. So they're combating that by opening up more stores that don't have guns to make up that difference in what they're losing out on in money. They're opening up into new areas, new markets where there are no Dick's Sports.
Gotcha.
That's like a cancer, really. That's what it is growing across the country. If they're going to start to infest these markets with their ideas and their limited thinking, that really does bother me. That's how they're combating it, fighting money with money, essentially.
All right. Anybody else have any thoughts on Levi's or Dick's or any of the other companies that have come out and said that they don't want to be associated with gun owners? I know some of the banks have started doing some of this too. I'm going to throw a post up here on Facebook real quick so people know where to come find the link while you guys discuss. Don't all talk at once, really.
Anyone?
It's easy to not shop at
Bueller.
It's easy to not shop at Dick's because there's another place you can get your hat from or your kids' soccer cleats. It's easy to not buy a Ford because you can go buy a Chevy or a Toyota or anything like that. The fuel to the fire is going to come when Pepperidge Farm comes out and says, we hate guns too. Or, Oscar Mayer or insert whatever product that you actually need to sustain a decent life. Your basic here we got BG&E. I don't know what your electric company is. BG&E comes out and says, we're anti-gun and we want to get rid of all guns. You're just gonna live in the dark. you're going to shut your power off. So somewhere along the lines, it's going to come down to brass tacks. Like there's going to be big companies that you actually need that are going to come out against the stuff. And that's really where the test is going to come, because it's easy to not shop at Dick's. And it's easy for Dick's to, like Travis said, open a store that doesn't have a gun section in it to begin with. And when all the new people go in there, they don't even notice it.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
So
Question about the banks. Go ahead, Squib.
Sorry, I've had the third shift guy following me around like a little kid. It's like, dude, just go do something.
Is it forklift guy?
No,
Is it Nice
not. It is not forklift guy.
Is it Nice Strike? Is he a little guy with a beard? Little man with a beard?
No, he's a tall dude with a beard.
Oh,
Anyhow, yeah, I had to go outside like I was going to smoke a cigarette. Dude, I don't even smoke. Anyhow, so I feel the same way about boycotting as I do about buying American. I try to buy American whenever possible and whenever it's practical. But if you don't, that's your prerogative. Some people say, I don't boycott, I don't believe in boycotting, it doesn't do anything, I'm not inconveniencing myself, it's a waste of time. And then people come in with the whole, well, what are you going to do, boycott everybody, everything? And there is somewhat of a point to that. Just like the people who say, I don't care if it's made in America or made in China. And then they got their list of reasons why. You know what, it's a free country, do what you want to do. I boycott. But, like what Kingpin was saying, if DTE, that's Detroit Edison, said we're anti-gun, I'm not living in the dark, okay? And, I wear Wranglers. If Wrangler comes out and says they're anti-gun, well, I don't know. From there, maybe I'll go to Carhartt, or maybe I'll get some stuff at Duluth or something like that. But there's always going to be somebody or something. I mean, look at all the people that buy brand new Springfields and swear by these things because they love them, even though Springfield's a bunch of dirt bags. Okay, and but then again, there's people that are still ticked off at Ruger, even though Old Man Bill is dead, long dead, and they're still ticked off at Ruger. So I think everybody needs to make their own decision on it, and everybody else should respect the other person's decision. If they're not as hardcore boycott as you are, oh well. And if they're more hardcore boycott than you, oh well. And then everybody kind of just deals with it on their own level and their own way.
yeah, definitely vote with your pocketbook. That's what I got to say. And it might not make an impact, but at least you know that your dollar's not supporting that agenda that you don't support. I think that's the big thing to remember. And, there could be enough of a crowd that doesn't support those items or that company, and that will financially, they might start to see it. I mean, wait till next fall and we'll see if Dick's Sports takes another plunge when all those hunters don't go buy stuff there.
Sandhills specifically commented earlier on banks. That's where I think that falls into also the like the Detroit Edison. That's where when you only have a certain
You're cutting out there, Galgaris.
banking you need to do. Well, is breaking up?
A little bit, buddy.
Yeah, you're cutting out.
Am I any better now?
That's a little better.
Okay, that's for Sandhills. I know mentioned asked about the banks and our thoughts on that. To me, they fall in the same kind of category as Detroit Edison, or out here California Pacific Gas and Electric. When you only have a certain number of large banks that they handle the larger, say, home loans or something like that. That also limits you, and that's where how many of these smaller banks are affiliated with the bigger banks. So that's where when they start going anti-gun, you might have to, the same thing as with the power companies, bite the bullet and do business with them, even if you don't necessarily like their politics.
I've heard some people say that Chase is anti-gun, that they won't support gun businesses, won't give them business loans or things like that. Well, maybe they are. I don't know. But I can tell you what, I've taken my Chase credit card and I've bought lots of guns and ammo with it. And I've cashed in the points on that credit card and turned right around and bought a lot more guns and ammo on it. So if they want to be anti-gun, that's fine. But they're not stopping me from making purchases. So I don't know. I don't know if there's any validity behind that, but once again, that's where I draw the line. That's where I'm like what you're saying. Who's available in your area, or who have you used forever, or what? So if you're brand loyal to a brand and they turn out to be anti-gun, and you decide you're not going to leave them, or that's all you have, then that's all you've got. I mean, there's just certain, but I do believe what Travis said, and that is, vote with your pocketbook. This whole Benchmade thing, I don't think it's really going to hurt Benchmade as much as it's going to send ripples through the business community that, hey, watch what you do, because we're keeping an eye on you. And I have my own feelings about the whole Benchmade thing, and I think we should boycott them collectively and hit them hard, only to set the example, if not anything else. Over all the other reasons, how much of a shockwave it went through for a whole week. Everybody was losing their crap over Benchmade. All right, it was out there. So I think it sends a warning sign to everybody else, and I think that's what we need to do. If enough of us want to boycott any one of these companies that do something that we don't like, we need to make noise about it. But we also need to check our facts first. But we need to make some noise about it to send a message to other companies in the future.
And we'll get into more of the Benchmade stuff here once we're done talking about the actual anti-gun companies. But yeah, I've got a few thoughts on that myself. But real quick, let's say hi to Obnoxious One. He's been sitting there in the panel here for a while, and I haven't said hi yet. So let's let you say hello and good evening and anything else you want to say real quick.
A large pepperoni sausage and mushroom.
Mm-hmm. Guaranteed delivery within 30 minutes, or else it's cold, bud. I promise. Any thoughts you want to kick in on the anti-gun companies that are coming out and saying, we don't want to be associated with guns, or we do want to be associated with Bloomberg in Levi's case? Anything like that? Obnoxious?
Well, two things on Levi's. If you're hashtag Porky Piggin,
You're cutting out, but I think what you said was, if you're Porky Piggin, it doesn't matter what Gene's company does what, because you don't use any of them. Is that what you said?
Porky Piggin. And like the CEO of Levi's, I'm doing my part to gun violence here in my house. So I'm armed to.
And you're expecting that you're being armed as a deterrent to anyone else who might be armed from start anything in your house. Is that what you're saying?
Because my wife gets, she gets out, and basically she just gets upset when she finds out how much I've spent on guns. So I've got to have the guns to protect myself.
Good point. All right. I think we've all been there a time or two if we're married. So, all right. And real quick here, let's say hello to AA, because we have Armament and Axes now joining us as well. So go ahead and say hi, and then anything you want to throw in here, AA? Or we'll come back to you. The tactical cat is wanting to chip in her 2 cents, but usually
that's the quietest AA has ever been.
Yeah, it is. Wait, I think he's trying to get his microphone to unmute. You might be having technical issues, it looks like, so we'll come back to you. He's trying. All right.
Come on.
Does anybody else have anything you want to throw in before we kind of move along, and we'll let the ones that are having some technical difficulties, we can always double back over to this topic if we need to for them.
Everybody's robot.
Oh.
Yeah, I think the internet's having some serious issues this evening. I'm having trouble even uploading stuff over on the YouTube side, and the other chats have been really robot and hardcore. So.
Yeah.
Do you think Google just has it out for us tonight?
Well, it could be some of that winter storm action out west too, messing up the servers. You never know.
It's hard telling. maybe it's the fact that we're using Google, which is a San Francisco-based company, to talk ill of another San Francisco-based company.
This is true.
And Google has kind of proven they're no friends of the Second Amendment, so yes, my phone wants to talk to me because they heard me say Google, or the phone heard me say Google. Awesome. Yeah, it's always listening.
Okay, Google. Order Sandhills a tactical knife.
Wow.
Hey, Alexa.
The good news is I'm not getting in trouble for that because my wife
Yeah.
is right here and heard you do that. So haha.
Make sure it's a Benchmade too. Yeah.
Yes. I only use Benchmade knives. I only wear Levi's. Yes.
Yep.
And I only carry Springfield Armory pistols. So.
Drink Fiji water. Yeah.
So with that little bit of horrible segue, let's talk about companies like Benchmade, Springfield. Yeti had some stuff going on here. Was it last year? And there was a huge call for boycotting all of these companies. And some of it was maybe warranted. Some of it maybe it came out later it was kind of unfounded. Especially in the case of Yeti, they didn't actually do what the NRA accused them of doing. And once the truth came out, it kind of looked like maybe the NRA was trying to smear Yeti just a little bit, just in retaliation, but they didn't get the shaft like they made it out to look at the beginning either.
And now the NRA has an official different cooler sponsor. Did you notice that?
Yes, I have noticed that.
The irony.
Funny how that works.
Yep.
So the NRA has even voted with their pocketbook, right?
Well, that or maybe they were setting Yeti up so they could get a different company in there. I don't know.
Well, yeah, but Yeti's the one that made the decision to not renew. But it was across the board. It wasn't just the NRA.
Yeah.
Because I mean, my understanding of the company, I mean, Yeti was started by a couple brothers that were avid fishermen and hunters, and wanted a cooler that would actually keep stuff cold longer and be tougher and bear-proof and whatnot. So I don't think that Yeti has any anti-gun intentions whatsoever, or anti-NRA intentions even. I just think that they made a business decision to change the way they were doing some stuff, and it just got blown into something that maybe it wasn't. Sometimes I wonder that about Benchmade. Sometimes I still am I'm kind of on the fence a little bit, to be honest, on Benchmade. I've only got one Benchmade knife, and they're so expensive that I'm not going to buy very many. Wasn't going to anyway. But I can kind of see where Benchmade's coming from. They want to have good relations in their town with the police, the city, everybody like that. And so if the police ask them to use their tools because they can do it quickly and efficiently, I can kind of see that just in the interest of relations, I can see maybe that they would do such a thing. I think the faux pas came in the fact that it got celebrated, and posted up by, was it the police department? I think that posted it up. And I think Benchmade again kind of got, I don't know, caught with their hand in the cookie jar maybe a little bit there, just because they were doing stuff that we don't necessarily agree with. But again, I mean, we've talked about this a little bit before. If I was going to turn in this gun and say, hey, I want this destroyed, and I give it to the police department, then I expect that gun's going to be destroyed, not have the receiver cut up and then everything else get pirated out of it for parts to be used somewhere else. I would expect that the gun in its entirety would be destroyed. And so, not that I would ever do that, of course, but if I was gonna have that taken care of, I would expect the police department to take care of it. Whether they did it themselves or took it to somebody else that had better tools, I don't know. It's been said, hey, how hard is it to have two guys in a hacksaw? Pretty hard when you've got to pay salaries and justify to taxpayers that you paid two guys, for a week to cut these guns up with a hacksaw, when you could have zipped them across town and gotten Benchmade to do it in an afternoon, right? So I can kind of see where Benchmade is coming from. At the same time, I could also understand how they could have just politely declined to help, do that too. So
It's kind of my thought. I mean, Benchmade, I can.
Double A, we can't hear a thing. Nothing's coming through. What is coming through is just robot.
Benchmade could have just simply came out and said that they don't support any kind of legislation that involves destroying firearms, and they could have simply declined. See, here's what drives me nuts. I just want to show you this real quick as a screen share. So we can say that, well, maybe they were just helping out. This is what bothers me about Benchmade, right? Here's our contributions to Democrats. There's our contributions to Republicans. Not that Republicans are necessarily on our side. All right, so their contributions to anti-gun Democrats have been increasing over the last 8 years, and their contributions to Republicans, and they can do that if they want to, but they're not on our side. So I cannot support them. I can respect their choice because this is a country where you can make choices, but I can also choose not to support them. Charitable contributions. I mean, they support everything and anything FUD related, but not so much in terms of the 2A. They're pro-military. They're pro-outdoors. That's cool. They're pro-nature. Okay. But where's the 2A foundation there? Where's, obviously we don't see the NRA there. So it kind of bothers me. They're not on our side. And so that's why I absolutely cannot support them at all until they change their position. If they don't want to, that's fine. I'm not going to buy the product.
I think that they made a bad move, but they thought they were making a good move. As far as public relations, I think they thought this would look like a good PR piece that, look, we're saving the taxpayers' money. Look, we're helping out local law enforcement. I don't think they did it because they're anti-gun. I think they did it for public relations. It was a publicity stunt. Now, yes, sure, it did save the taxpayers' money. It did save time. And yeah, with this whole thing about 2 guys and a hacksaw, dude, it don't work like that. Taking it down to Benchmade and having them chop it up in their equipment was probably the best thing that the cops could do to save the taxpayers' money and ensure that they're properly destroyed to ATF standards. However, it's the policy of the police department to do that in some of the cases for the guns that are turned in. It's not necessarily that the person turning in was saying they wanted it destroyed. They just wanted it gone. The other guns were court ordered, and there's nothing you can do about that. Now, if you want to protest somebody, you protest the police and you protest the courts for choosing to destroy the guns or ordering to destroy the guns. As far as Benchmade, it was a bad idea, just like it was a bad idea for the NRA to vilify Yeti and say they're just doing it to us when they were doing it to everybody. And the NRA did it to gain, with their members, to gain favor with their members. And there's enough people that are hardcore, the NRA can do no wrong, that it did work, at least for a while. I don't think Yeti is necessarily anti-gun, or they've just made a business decision for everybody. But look at how many companies were offering discounts to NRA members, and they jumped ship and said, we're not supporting this anymore, like Delta Airlines, right? Delta Airlines for the longest time gave discounts to NRA members. I never used it because I never knew. I mean, I knew they had some discounts on this, that, and the other over the years, but I never bothered to. It's like my corporate rate at Holiday Inn is cheaper than the NRA discount or Best Western or wherever I used to use it or whatever. So I think sometimes it's a publicity stunt. I think sometimes it's to people will, the first thing they hear is what they believe. How many people go back and read the retraction? How many people go back and do their own research? How many people do more than just skim the headlines? And it works both ways for the anti-gunners and for the pro-gunners. But the whole thing about the Benchmade was it was a full week on YouTube. Everybody's losing their stuff. And even the second week of it, people were still talking about it. The Gun Collective did 3 different videos on it, really good stuff. And they actually contacted Benchmade and did get a response from them. And I thought theirs was about the most unbiased coverage of the whole thing. But if you look at the way our community went after Benchmade, especially after what Travis pointed out, how much money they've been funneling to anti-gun politicians, whether they're funneling it to them because these politicians are doing other things for them that have nothing to do, the side effect of that is they're supporting people that want to take away our rights. And more companies are going to get found out about that they're donating money. And I think by boycotting Benchmade hard, not forever, but until either they get their act straight or at least for a certain amount of time, might send a message to all these other companies. We're watching you, and we're not going to give you our money if you're going to take away our constitutional rights.
I can say this. Can you hear me now? Benchmades are overpriced. In watching what Benchmade did and donating money to certain politicians that they support our point of view and knife. I'm like, really? Because they're anti-gun. What?
But A&A, a lot of people said that in their videos too. And if Benchmade was actually watching those videos, they'd go, this guy doesn't matter to us.
Yeah.
Actually, they've got some really expensive knives and they've got some affordable knives. They do actually sell some knives for decent prices. And you go, $100 is too much for a knife, dude. Whatever.
I have many expensive knives, but a lot of the knives that they sell, little folder, they want way too much, and I'm like, really?
They might, but if you preface your video with, I don't buy any of their products anyhow. I wouldn't buy them anyhow because they're too expensive. Benchmade's automatically going to write off what you say because they're like, this guy wasn't a customer anyhow, so who cares what his opinion is? But if you say, I've got several Benchmade knives, I've bought them before, I like them, I think they make a good quality product, they're a little bit pricey, but they're worth it, or they've got some that are in the affordable range, and those are the kind of knives I get. Now they're listening. Now they're going, oh crap, this guy not only is a customer, he buys multiple knives. But all the people that got on and were doing their little rants about Benchmade and going, I wouldn't buy their stuff anyhow, it's just way too expensive. And I get it, some of that stuff is a little expensive, but hey, whatever. You're automatically defeating the purpose of getting your message out there because Benchmade doesn't care if you're not already buying their product, you see?
But I'll tell you what.
It happened with.
Yeah,
go ahead, Travis.
People stop buying their $350 knives or $150 knives. That's going to start to affect them, especially guys like me, guys who are getting older that are looking into buying gear that's higher quality and maybe more expensive. They're going to lose my business, and I mean they need to think about potential customers down the road, or a lot of guys that don't know much about them, or maybe you're thinking about getting knives, won't buy them now because they know what their viewpoint is.
Yeah, and that's true. I've got one Benchmade knife, and I'll tell you this much: the blade's made out of D2 tool steel, and it's dull now. I don't have a sharpener in my house that'll sharpen it. It's going to have to be like a work sharp or something with an actual belt or something like that on it to get an edge back on this thing. But it held that edge for a long time. The quality is there, and again, it's unfortunate that that so many of these companies that make good stuff, Levi's, Benchmade, they have to either completely turn an about face and turn their back on us, or sometimes they just happen to step in it, right? But either way, I mean, it's going to affect them, and it's probably not going to affect them in a good way.
I would just say maybe do some research before you spend money on some of these big ticket items or more expensive items. Do some research into the background of the company and just take 5 minutes. Just type in, hey, is Spyderco pro gun? Is Benchmade pro gun? If there's a lot of controversy about the company, you might want to consider buying from a different company or maybe buy from a military supplier, Find out who the parent company is or what umbrella, owns them too. I mean,
so just like with buying guns, you want to find out who's actually getting that money. Personally, we're not going to turn the chat into this, but personally, I don't want my money to go into the country of Turkey, just because of federal funding that eventually, with a couple of cutouts, makes its way over to ISIS. I don't want to finance ISIS. I'm not going to buy anything Turkish, at least not brand new. If something comes up, in a used case in a pawn shop or something, then that money's not actually going back to Turkey. That's different, but that's kind of with Springfield, kind of the same way. There's a couple of the XDs that I wouldn't mind checking out, but I'm not going to buy them new because it still kind of bothers me what Springfield and Rock River were doing, a couple years ago over in Illinois. And so, but if I get a chance to buy something used, then that's just like buying a used car. That money doesn't go back to GM or Ford. It goes to the used car dealer. Same thing if I buy something used from a pawn shop. That money stays with the pawn shop then. And so, that there are ways to get some stuff that's, doesn't give your money back to that company and support them either.
I'm going to ask this: how can we boycott certain companies? Because whether you know it or not, Pepsi or PepsiCo has donated lots of money to Handgun Control Inc., which is now whatever the hell it is. But are you going to stop drinking Pepsi?
I need to stop drinking Mountain Dew anyway.
When
Well, yeah, but
Coca-Cola
Mountain
put
Dew
those,
is awesome. Come on, especially the
Coca-Cola-
retro with a sugar. I love Mountain Dew, but honestly, that how far does it go? I mean, so many companies out there, and the products that you buy every day that you don't even know these companies donate to.
Yeah.
It goes so deep.
when you're aware of it, you can make a choice. One year during the Super Bowl, Coca-Cola did a commercial. They sang America the Beautiful in every language but English. For a whole year, I didn't drink Coke or Coke products unless I was at a restaurant where they served it and that was all they had. And even then, there were times where I decided to choose water because they didn't have Pepsi. Okay. The next year, they did another commercial just like it. You don't sing America the Beautiful in a foreign language. I'm sorry, Americans speak English. It bothered me that much so that 2 years, I didn't buy Coke or Coke products. But the same thing happened with Home Depot. I went into Home Depot, bought a brand new appliance. They had one on the floor, and they sold me the one on the floor. And 2 years later, I go into Home Depot. I go, want to buy the one on the floor? They go, we don't do that anymore. I go, dude, I need an appliance now. You sold me one on the floor 2 years ago. I want this. I need it now. I can't wait a week for you to deliver it to my house while I'm at work. Because that's the only thing they can do is deliver it on a weekday while I'm at work. It's like, that don't work. I'm not taking a vacation day. I said, you sold me one before. Nope, won't do it. All right, fine. I went down to Lowe's. They said, yeah, we'll sell you this one right here on the floor. Threw it in my truck, went home, had it. And I boycotted Home Depot for a whole dang year. Didn't buy anything else. Nuts, bolts, screws, grass seed, topsoil, shovels, whatever it was for a whole year. I went to Lowe's. They're literally across the street from each other. It's a matter of, if you want to boycott, you can boycott. If you want to do your research, do your research. If you have a bad experience, don't forget that bad experience. One employee could ruin a year's worth of sales from me. And that's just the way it is. Or the company changing its policy, or finding out publicly that they're done this or that and the other. And if somebody goes, that's just ridiculous, that's silly. Okay, for you, it's ridiculous and silly. I think some of the things that you guys do are ridiculous and silly. So that's what I say. If you don't feel like boycotting, don't boycott. If you don't want to do your research, or you don't find, and sometimes this stuff like the Yeti thing, that was total BS, right? And how long? It was a couple weeks before it came out that it was total BS. But follow up. Read the retractions. I don't know. Or just plain don't boycott. But yeah, you're not going to get away from everything else. But if you go, well, I can't boycott Pepsi because they're Pepsi. Yeah, you can. There's Faygo. There's RC Cola. There's Coke.
Faygo.
You know, whatever. Just order water. Just order freaking water.
Yeah.
Just remember, though, that I'm not going to necessarily call out Pepsi because I don't boycott them, but if somebody wants to boycott Pepsi, that means no Pizza Hut, no KFC, no Taco Bell. They own those.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
You know,
again, do your research.
Because like I said, some of those restaurants I went to where they had Coke products, and I just ordered water. So yes, you can go have your pizza and not have a Pepsi with it. Oh my goodness.
Well, but you can't go to Pizza Hut and have your pizza without Pepsi getting your money because Pepsi owns Pizza Hut.
Well, they might have Dr. Pepper, though. Sometimes they have 7-Up. They have Mid-Continental.
Okay, then freaking go to Little Caesars, or go to Happy's, or go to Hungry Howie's, or go to Jets, or go to Papa Romano's.
If you're going to decide to boycott, then do your research and find out who you're boycotting. You know, again, it's like, that's kind of like saying, hey, I'm going to boycott Pepsi and switch to Mountain Dew. You're giving the same place the money. So do your research. And just make sure that you know what you're doing. And if your principals tell you to do it, then do it. Yeah. If your principals tell you, as much as I'd like to boycott Walmart, I can't afford to go shop at the other places all the time. So Walmart gets a lot of my money.
But there's a way to do that too, though.
Afford my principals.
There's a way to do that too. When Walmart come up with this whole, we're not selling guns and ammo to anybody under the age of 21, especially the ammo thing. Okay. What I decided to do was, I shop at Walmart. They've got some good prices on a few things. Although I don't need, if Walmart disappeared out of Michigan, we'd be fine. We've got Myers and they're better. Some places don't have that, okay? Well, what I don't do is I don't spend money in their sporting goods department. That is the department where you've got to be 21 to buy ammunition. So I just choose not to buy in their sporting goods department. Oh, what do I do for ammo? There's no other place. Order it online. Jeez. I mean, there are always options. It just depends on how far you want to go. And that's where some people just throw their, whatever down and they go, I ain't going to that much trouble. Okay, I respect your right to not to go to that much trouble. It's okay.
There are people who aren't in a position to pay that, even if it's $5 a box more, what time you figure in shipping. There's people that aren't in a position to pay that extra $5 a box. You buy 4 boxes and that's an extra box you could have bought at Walmart. I get it. Sometimes the situation you're in dictates, you don't always get the luxury of principles, right? So again, that's kind of one of the things I wanted to bring up is we can boycott some of these companies. Yeah, I mean, a lot of people said I never bought a Yeti cooler before because I never could afford one. So again, they didn't boycott Yeti. They just never became a customer to begin with. The same thing with the Benchmade. But if you're going to boycott Levi's or Walmart was mentioned in the same article, has done a lot of anti-gun stuff. But again, sometimes that's where I go because I have to. I'm not in a position where I can always stick to the principles that I want to and still pay all the bills at the end of the month. I mean, we switched bank accounts away from First National because they were on a list of companies that decided they didn't want to be associated anymore with NRA. Not because I'm a fan of the NRA. You guys all know that. Actually, I am. I'm not a fan of the ILA. And if they would divorce from each other, NRA would have my membership the next day. But because the First National didn't make that decision because of the things that the NRA does to trade away our rights, but just because they're the NRA and they're the anti-gun people have put a face as the enemy, right? And that's why First National Bank decided that they didn't want to be associated with them, along with a lot of other companies. First National lost, all of our money that we had in our accounts. They don't get to use that for lending because we put it in a different bank now. We've got one loan that's left through there, and before 12 months is up, that car's paid for. We won't finance anything else through First National. But again, I didn't move that loan because of the interest. It didn't pay to move it. I would have had to pay too much, and it wouldn't have been worth doing. So we have principles, but we can't always completely stick to them. And I know some people, maybe don't have to worry about that stuff, but a lot of us do. And I think that a lot of the people that are hearing my voice right now probably can relate to that situation. If not, cool, good for you. But I think a lot of people can.
I have a question. That's for earlier in, so I'm going back a little bit topic wise. That's for the how long you stay mad at a company, whether boycott or just voicing your opinion on them or whatnot. A lot of people were mad at Ruger because of comments that Bill Ruger had made.
Mm-hmm.
But that's where he's since passed, and some still hold that grudge.
Yes, they do.
That's where
that was like back in the late 80s and early 90s, right?
It was in the 90s.
That's where.
Yeah.
Point I'm making, guys. Point I'm making. I'm using that just as a, example. For a company, what would a company have to do that has in the past made actions or that has been anti to something that you believe in? What would they have to do in order to gain your trust back? That's my question.
It could be something as simple as stop donating to politicians, period. Pro-gun or anti-gun.
Big one.
In my opinion, it's no different than if somebody does something to me, that affects me or hurts me in some way. And, they can come up and tell me they're sorry. And that's great. And it's a good step. But what actually helps foster that forgiving spirit in my mind, in my heart, is when I see them actually not only say they're sorry, but do the things that back it up. Right? Talk is cheap, but actions always speak louder. And so when a company, if they come out and admit that they stepped in it, that's the first step, obviously, because I don't believe Springfield has ever done anything besides refute the fact that they had anything to do with that little carve out in the law, which is in effect, and a lot of local FFLs are going to be put out of business now in Illinois because of that. Springfield and Rock River, don't worry, they'll be okay. But if Springfield would come out and not only say, hey, okay, so what we did was wrong, we're sorry about it. That's one thing. If they actually take steps where it's stop donating to anti-gun politicians or PACs or whatever, or to start donating to more pro-gun politicians, to start donating to if Springfield would throw some money toward NRA, even GOA, FPC, all of these groups that are actually doing things proactively to the places that are filing lawsuits and trying to fight to get our rights back or stop losing our rights. If there was a gun company that would come out and say, look, we want to help, and here's how we're going to do it, is, for every one of our pistols that you buy, $100 of that, or $10 or whatever, depending on the price, is going to go directly to this fund that will distribute evenly across all these organizations. Just think how many of us would buy that pistol just because of that.
It's funny you mention that, because how many of them corporations that don't want to do that, they won't do that. It's all about profit. And one of the best organizations is GOA. And, we, for years, I've been a member of the NRA for years, blah, blah, blah. But lately, but GOA, they're gaining ground.
GOA, the next NRA.
Yeah, maybe better, but yeah.
I don't know. The GOA is at least doing things that the NRA wouldn't be caught dead doing, or the ILA wouldn't.
GOA is doing the exact same thing the NRA has been doing. They're the same thing, guys.
They have a lawsuit in court?
No, actually,
no.
The GOA is
they send you junk mail saying, this is the fight of our lives, we need your money.
Yeah, but I also got the email that says that their lawsuit may have some traction, and the judge didn't throw it out.
Yeah, that's what I was trying to say, is because the NRA isn't even, filing a lawsuit, but GOA is. The NRA loves to take your money, and I hate to use the word FUD, but the people on the committee are FUDs. They just, as much as, the AR-15, and really, wasn't the NRA the one that said to the ATF, well, maybe you should re-examine the bump stock thing? And, honestly, I have no use for a bump stock.
Chris Cox is also one that said that we need some common sense laws like the red flag laws.
Yeah, red flag, what? Oh, due process second.
And
due process, what?
Mr. Pratt's the one that got fooled by Borat. Look, all I'm saying is they're the same thing. You guys might not see it, but they're the same thing. I'm not saying one of them is good and one is bad. They're both bad and they're both good. They're both necessary in the fight. I'd like to see everybody be a member of both, but I'm also not going to tell somebody what to do with their money or how to vote or any of that crap. But yeah, the GOA is the same thing as the NRA.
I would like real quick, this is maybe a little shameless. If anybody wants me to tell them what to do with their money, please go to Patreon or Gunstreamer and support us. Just say, no, I'm kidding. No, you're right. It's not our place.
Cause them to donate to you, man.
It's not our place to tell anybody else that they should or shouldn't support these companies. But just, again, do your research. Look at what the NRA, ILA has done or hasn't done. Look at what the GOA has done or hasn't done. Firearm Policy Coalition, or your local state organizations, or even more local than that. Look at what they're doing, or look at what they're not doing. And then, again, support the people that you think are going to do what you want to see done.
Calaveras, to answer your question, my rule of thumb with boycotting a company for anything, not just that we found out that they donated to anti-gun politicians, but for doing anything, is typically a year. and then I re-examine, and maybe I give them another chance. Now, if they step in it with me again, then I just extend it another year. There are a few companies out there that I've chosen never to give my money to ever again, but there's only a few of those. So you just have to make a decision for yourself how long you want to make your boycott, how many companies you want to boycott, and if there's ever anybody you're going to boycott pretty much forever.
Yeah, and again, like I said, I would like to see Springfield do a few things that are a little more pro-gun or pro-gun owner or pro-gun dealer than what they've been doing. And the only reason I say that is because they do have a couple products that I'd be interested in them if, if I knew I was going to support a company that actually was worth supporting. But for now, I don't think that they're going to get any of my money. So if I buy a Springfield, it'll most likely be a used one at this point anyway.
And I think that's a good way to handle it because you kind of get the best of both worlds. You vote with your wallet, but you also don't deny yourself, a specific kind of product or service that you're looking for that maybe somebody else doesn't have. Although I think you can buy. Oh wait, oh no, it's not Turkey. I was going to say you can buy those XDs from a company in Turkey, but no, that's Croatia.
Yeah, they're Croatian.
They make pretty good stuff over there, actually.
No, I've shot an XDS before. It wasn't a bad gun. I don't like the waffle iron grip that was on it, but the newer ones, the Generation 2 or whatever they are, they've got the grip zone on them now. So at least now I know where to hold the thing. That was probably my issue before.
I've
but
never
we can
been
make fun.
big
We can make
fan
fun of
of
the grip zone all night.
Springfield, but yeah. Like I said, I'd never been a big fan of the Springfield pistols. I just ergonomic and okay.
Yeah, but, and a lot of people were kind of had their feathers ruffled too back when the XD pistol first came out. That Springfield never actually came out and said that they manufacture those. They also never said that they import them from Croatia. And yeah, if you look at one, it is molded right into the frame or stamped on the slide, one or the other, made in Croatia. So I mean, if you get the thing home and you didn't realize that, that's your own fault. But they did kind of market these as American-made guns, or a lot of people kind of saw it as that, as the way that they were hyped when they first came in. And so a lot of people didn't like that either. At least who cares if you import the thing? Just call a spade, right?
Yeah, the ads in Guns and Ammo and American Rifleman did kind of have that. Sometimes they'd actually have a flag logo in there or whatever.
American
but
Gun Company.
Springfield Armory itself is a misnomer. They are no relation to the actual Springfield Armory at all. They bought the rights to the name.
That George Washington was affiliated
Not even
with
in the same state. None of it.
Nope, exactly. They're in Illinois, just like Rock River is. Not to be confused with Rock Island out of Philippines.
Yeah, but Rock Island Armory really is in Illinois. It's a national park. And Rock Island Armory, they bought the rights to the name. The Filipino company bought the rights to the name. Rock River Arms has nothing to do with nothing. Right. But there are all kinds of companies out there that do that buy the rights to a Henry Rifle. No relation to New Haven Firearms or Winchester at all. No relation whatsoever. But they bought the rights to the name. So you can do a good thing with it or you can do a bad thing with it. I kind of think Springfield Armory's kind of done a bad thing with it, but hey, if that's your prerogative, hey, it's your money, do what you want.
Yep, exactly. So, all right, anybody else have anything that they want to throw in here? Kingpin, you've been kind of quiet. Anything you want to throw in? I see you've been a little active over in the chat side, so.
No, just I think most people understand that they have to do what they have to do, and if you feel a certain way about a certain product or a certain store, then don't go there. Don't use those products, and do what you feel is necessary. If you feel like sharing that with somebody, and explaining, hey, this is why I don't go to this store, or this is why I don't drink this soda, or buy this lawnmower. That's perfectly fine too. If you're passionate about something and you believe in something, there's nothing wrong with sharing it with people and trying to enlighten people to your way of thinking. So, if there's a product out there that you think the people who run it represent bad things, there's absolutely nothing wrong with sharing it with people. But, if it comes down to your next door neighbor buys that lawnmower, then, you can still hang out with him and be cool, even though he spends money where you don't think that people should spend their money.
Yeah, it's just like having a gun buddy who's got a Glock. It's like, okay, well, you got that ugly, useless gun, but I'll still be your friend.
That's funny, Squib. Okay.
Yeah, well, I don't know about that. We might have to discuss the Glock thing.
Oh, I see. There's a line that is drawn right there.
Squib, thanks, folks. Thank you for still being my friend. I appreciate that you throw me a bone like that. That's nice.
Hey, I mean, look.
Don't judge me because I like my Glock. Thanks for that, Squib.
That's just it. I'm not going to be judgy on it, even though it is an ugly gun.
That's one thing. I still can't wrap my head around that. I don't judge anybody based on what gun they like or carry or don't like. I still can't understand the concept of, why that would create such animosity in anybody. If you like your M9, great, like your M9. Kingpin likes his Security 9 too from Ruger. That's awesome. I like the ones I have. That's why I bought them. Travis.
No. I like to give people crap over their guns.
Sure.
If I get judgy about something, it's over cheap guns, not inexpensive guns. Cheap, crappy guns.
So if your boys, the Marines, happen to adopt the Glock 17 in the future, are you going to go ahead and reject the Marines then too?
I wasn't happy when they took the M9 back in '85. I still wanted to keep the 1911, and when I got in and found out we still have 1911s in the armory, I breathed a sigh of relief. Then they issued me an M9. If they'd said take your pick, I would have grabbed that 1911. If they adopt the Glock, they adopt the Glock. It's just like Marines today don't learn on iron sights anymore. What the? I mean, you're kidding, right? Talk about doing alternations out the. That is messed up. That is way. But it's like it's a changing time. But I give people grief over Glocks and stuff like that. But if I shame you, it's probably over just having a cheap gun, not an inexpensive gun, a cheap gun.
So you're telling me my PT-111 G2 is a cheap gun or an inexpensive gun? Because
no, that's an inexpensive gun. There's a difference between inexpensive and cheap.
Yeah, it's still going strong. Went to the range last Saturday, put 150, ran great. But I get your point about the military and yeah. We'll let it go at that.
The thing, though, is if the Marine Corps adopted the Glock, they'd have to put an external safety on it. It's a requirement. So, and then I'd probably like Glock a little bit better, but it'd still feel uncomfortable as heck to shoot. I just throw grief around. It's just like people that give me grief over my Henry because they like the Marlins. All right, give me grief. I don't care, man. I'm good.
I love the Henrys. No, what you were just saying about the Glock 19X, the one they put out on the market, but that was not the military submitted gun. The military submitted gun by Glock had an external safety. And then they put it out on the market like, oh, this is what we submitted. No, it's not what you submitted. That gun had an external safety. Now, whether it's needed or not, but see where I'm coming from.
I think as far as the boycotting goes and judging people over their guns, Travis P11 should continue his Sky boycott. Don't bother your Sky, Travis.
I can't encourage people to buy a gun that's not going to save their life when it needs to.
Now, that is a cheap gun. If you want a definition of a cheap gun, that is a cheap gun.
Well, I mean, it's not like it's made out of really crappy materials. They use a decent aluminum for the frame and the barrel. They use Zytel plastic for the lower frame. Not the frame. The slide is like aircraft aluminum and the blade. They use pretty good materials, but the design just needs to be revised so that it functions better and it actually survives use.
I had a Sky. I thought, yeah, it wasn't built bad, but the biggest problem was, when I pulled the trigger, by the time I reset the trigger, my finger was hitting the front of the
Yeah.
trigger guard. The long, it just junk.
It's a ridiculous self-defense, in quotes, double action trigger pull. So
And I'm going to tell you this. The original gun was called a Sigma. Now it's like SV, whatever. 40.
OST9VE from
Yeah, I
Smith.
got a 40 version. I got it for $125 because the guy's like,
That's
oh,
not
the
bad,
trigger-
man.
Did the original
like,
Sigma have the same trigger though as the
Yes.
SD?
Yeah, it was pretty much the
SD9VE.
same.
It's,
Yeah.
I mean, it is different enough. Though, in fact, the SD9VE was it the Sigma or the SD9VE that got Smith in trouble from Glock?
The Sigma.
The Sigma. It was the original.
Sigma?
It was the original Glock
Sigma,
killer.
yes.
Because
The
under the
Glock
hood,
killer, yeah.
yeah,
But-
SD9VE under the hood looks just like a Glock.
But it, I got that thing, and it's like, I don't know, 3 generations back. But I got online. I went, improve the trigger this way, and it did. And it's not wonderful. It is nowhere near wonderful, but to a double action standard pistol, it ain't bad. And the thing shoots great. I got it for $125 because the guy says, "Oh, I hate the trigger." It's like, I'll give you $120. Yeah. So
I mean,
but-
I'd say buy a Taurus G2C before you get a Sky CPX2. I know it's not an American company, but Taurus is making guns in the USA now too.
Did you just see that Taurus is reintroducing the lifetime warranty? So
yeah, I made a video on it. Thanks,
Yeah, he made a
Bill.
video for
and
I made a video with Travis's video playing in the background.
That's right.
Travis, I think
Made a
that's
video
where I
of the
did it.
video.
Yes. So, like I said, I mean, I've had good luck with my PT-111 G2. Honestly, people brag on Taurus, and I've had many Taurus guns over the years, and I bought and sold, and I didn't sell them because they sucked. I just, buy and sell. But hey,
Okay, so ragging on a gun for its features or where it's made or how much it costs aside, we boycott gun brands because of things like getting rid of a certain line or getting rid of a warranty or making defective guns over and over again or stuff like that. So it's not even just about the politics of a company or shady business practices. You could buy a gun, from a manufacturer that you've never bought before, and your very first one is a piece of junk, and you return it or sell it or do whatever, and you say, I will never buy this again, and you tell everybody. This was kind of like how Matt's got apparently the only IO AK that ever worked right? And he says, I don't know how I got it, but I got it. But
I think you sold it.
He ended up selling it, and it was like, dude, you had the only one that worked. But still, it is something in the same sense that a company could have a bad one come off the line, and you just happen to be the poor sucker that ends up with it. And what do you know? You got a YouTube channel, so here it comes, right? The same difference is in boycotting, though. You know what I mean? So the companies really need to watch not only how they make their product and how they support their product, but what they do if they want our money in any way, shape, or form. So I just think that it goes to show that we can use this new media crap to get our voice out there. I just think, though, that before somebody goes and throws a company under the bus for either having a defective product or bad customer service or spending their profits on politicians that are going to take away our rights, somebody might want to do a little bit of research first instead of just parroting somebody else who was ranting and maybe didn't have their facts correct. You know what I mean? That's the only thing I'm concerned about is if we want to take the high road and look like the better person at the end of the day, we need to make sure that we've got some stuff to back up what we say.
I'm just going to jump in here and go, hey, Hill Climb, Ohio, JB, kid, my son, watch your language. Watch your language.
He's got the picture. Yeah, we just keep it classy. There's no need.
I know.
There's
listen to your poppy.
I just want to clarify for anybody that's listening or anybody that's chatting.
I know.
It's not necessarily about just having stuff spelled out. I mean, let's take that higher road and not even have to use an expletive. How about that?
Yeah, I want to remind my kid, Yeah, my son.
I've actually the reason I do that is, and I've said this before, and I'll probably say it again, but I've got a few family members, a few aunts, and a few people who have known me since I was a kid. That neighbors and friends that sometimes catch these, and I want them to be proud of what we're doing here. I don't want them to not watch it because they can't stand what's being said, or if they're following the chat, they don't like what's being said out there. And another thing is, I've gotten comments before from viewers who said, this is one of the few that I can actually listen to with my kid in the room. The rest of them, I have to wait and listen to them after the kid goes to bed because they're so full of, bad language. So that's why we try to keep it classy, because you never know who's going to hear this, and I don't want anybody to not listen. Sometimes we've got some stuff that actually I think is great and people should hear, but I don't want them to not hear it because we turn them off with the way we're talking or typing.
Well,
Right.
Sandhills, I'm glad that you said that, and I'm glad that you have said that before on other shows. You've re-emphasized it, because there are some people that have some live shows that don't like swearing, that shut you down or whatever if you slip one time or whatever it is, and they don't put that disclaimer out there. You don't have to do it at the beginning of every show, but periodically you might want to say, look, this is why we don't swear on my show, X, Y, and Z. And I think that if you do that, that is more professional than just going, oh, you slipped once, you're gone, bye.
And that's why we have the moderators that we have. They all know that I don't want to just kick people out just because everybody makes mistakes, and so do I. So I'm going to be the first one to say that we'll give everybody a couple chances. But if we have to, we'll either call you out. We don't have to call out Hill Climb. You can do it double A because he's your kid. But I mean, we don't have to call anybody out, and we'll just say, hey, let's just keep this something that you don't say anything you wouldn't say to your grandma, or some of you maybe have grandmas that everything goes. So don't say anything that you can't say on TV before 8 o'clock.
I can say this. My son uses the F word like I say what. Yeah. Yeah.
And you know what? So
he's a good kid. He just needs chat etiquette.
Yep.
Well, when the speaking squibbish about YouTube stuff and swearing comes out, Sandhills, if I'm talking about somebody who handles it better than some other people that do live shows, you'll know who I'm referring to.
Travis?
I don't know what you're talking about.
Squib's talking about Travis, I think.
I hope not. I don't know.
Yeah. Here's the thing, though. At the end of the day, it's your show, and these are your moderators. So whatever your rules are, they're your rules. It's just, even though we're all adults and we are responsible for our actions, when you've got somebody who has rules and they don't periodically explain those, it does kind of make them look bad. Some people come at it from a I'm holier than thou kind of approach, and they really have a sincere reason, but the way they come off about it, they look different than their reason, and it doesn't help. It really doesn't help. So I think you're doing what I call transparency, and I do appreciate that, because not enough people out there in the community are transparent.
Well, and again, I mean, it's not it's not anybody here, but I mean, sometimes I've gone into catch chats or whatever before, and I'll turn them off too. If all we're gonna do is just say bad words, or all we're gonna do is talk about bathroom humor or locker room talk, that's cool. We can do for those of you who aren't in the panel, that happens a lot before we go live and after we stop broadcasting live. But we don't do it on the air because we keep it classy here. And you know what? Another huge reason is just out of respect for people who don't want to see it, don't want to hear it. People like my wife who don't, drop F-bombs all the time. Her husband does sometimes more than he ought to. So
no, you don't. You say stuff like "gosh" and "gee willikers."
Especially when I'm on the air, I try. Yeah. You know what? It comes from. I just
want everybody to know.
Oh, go ahead, Obnoxious.
I support all of the amendments. If you come over to my chat, I will not restrict your First Amendment rights.
Make sure you go check out Orange You Glad It's Not the Closer, because you can say anything you want to, apparently, on that chat.
Orange You Glad It's Not a Dumpster Fire.
No kidding.
Floating dumpster fire, right? Floating dumpster fire.
Mm-hmm.
but yeah, I mean that's the biggest thing is we just sometimes we have to come back and talk about this again, right? So I think on that note, we've kind of exhausted the topics that we were going to cover tonight. So let's give everybody a chance to say goodnight, say goodbye, and plug their channels. And again, let me roll up here and see who I can thank for joining us over on the gun channel side. We've still got myself and David Bowling. So thanks, Kingpin, for being 3 places at once. You're awesome. And then on the YouTube side, we've got Joe Smith out there. And make sure you're checking out Den of Tools. Joe, is that the channel or is that the show? Den of Tools, and I know that they do something live on Saturday nights. So go ahead and check him out or check that show out. It's not as much gun stuff; it's more tool stuff. But we've got a lot of let's go ahead and somebody beat me to it. Yep, we can allow that comment. That's good. But go ahead and check out. There's some gun stuff on there too. But we want to shout out Joe Smith because he's been a good supporter and supports our channel. We try to support those that support us. We've got Jason Stewart. We've got Atypical Jake, Kingpin again, Hill Climb Ohio JB. Thanks for being a good sport. Vanessa Kitty's out there. Midnight Range TM. Other Travis, aka Food Travis. I think Travis number 2 even. Double A's there and here. 7 Wonders, General Relativity. Who else do we have here? Leo Red. Let's see. Some of the usual suspects. Been rolling through here. I know we had Ghost a while ago. Am I seeing anybody new? I know there's some more people up in here earlier. It's kind of fun seeing just who comes through. The 717 Patriot, Stephen Brown was here. Agorizer. Who else do we have? Sandhills Sweetheart, of course, is in the chat with us. Philo. I saw you out there. William Keller. I remember seeing Gun Love and Grandpa Stanley. I remember seeing SS Pawn. So we have the stands represented. Local 223. Let's see here. Rich White was out there. Poor Conservative. Joseph Cooper. I don't think I've seen you before, Joseph Cooper. So welcome. And if I have seen you, then I'm just dumb. Who else is out there? I think we're getting kind of up to the top there of the names. I'm not seeing anybody else that I hadn't. Oh, Kinky Sphincter. Saw you out there. Thanks for joining us as well. So if I've missed anybody, that means you didn't chat enough or it just went long enough that I can't get all the way to the top and see who else was up there. But thanks, everybody, for joining us. Let's go back through our esteemed panel and let everybody say goodnight. Let's start off with Calaveras 32 Special. He's not here anymore. He had dropped out of the chat, but make sure you go check out the Tactical Pickles channel over there coming from Behind Enemy Lines. He's got some good stuff up there, so go give him a look. We've got Armament and Axes. What do you want to say before we all wrap up here?
Just say thanks, John. Thanks, Sandy. Thanks for the invite. Coming late. I find us on YouTube, Gun Streamer, YouTube. I think I got Facebook, Armament and Axes. Too many things. The one thing I want to put out there so much to everybody out there is the Creator Summit coming up in September. Go to creatorsummit.us. Check it out. Send an email and get your invite. Please come to the Creator Summit. It's going to be a lot of fun. So far, I think we got, I don't know, about 40 creators coming, but I would love to see everybody and anybody I could at the Creator Summit. Would be totally awesome. So it's at Thunder Valley Precision. You can shoot out to a mile there. My brother and I rang steel at 1,000 yards with our AR-15s. Now, mind you, yes, we had to shoot 13 or 14 feet high and figured out how to do it. But yeah, I think I'm supposed to put on a 3-gun event, but I got to get with the owner of the place and see what he's got for a pistol range. It might only be a 2-gun event, but other than that, man, I hope everybody can be there. Thank you for the invite. Good night, all.
I think that's it. All right. We will move right along the line here. Kingpin, thanks for joining us tonight.
Oh yeah, man. Thanks for having me. Make sure everybody like, share, and subscribe to the Sandhills Shooter channel. And check out Rick's Life as I See It tomorrow, 7 p.m. Eastern, the only time zone that matters. And,
I don't
thanks
know
for
that I
having
can
me.
concur with that. But yeah, go check out Rick's. Rick's got some good stuff up on his channel too, and does some good chats. So all right, we will move over to Obnoxious One. Thank you for joining us as well.
I'm gonna. Oh,
Absolutely, and don't forget hashtag Porky Piggin. It doesn't matter what jeans company does
Porky
what
Piggin.
if you're not wearing pants.
Exactly. I am going to link for the 2A patch batch out there for G-Webs. There are 28 hours left in it. You can get your over that. He's really close to hitting a stretch goal, which means everybody will get as well if he hits that. So he's got about 28 hours left on that, and one will be closed out. But you get if you support it at the $50 level, you get 12 patches. It's just over $4 a patch, all shipped out to you.
That's awesome. Very cool. Very cool. All right. And then Squib Load. I try my best every week to shut Squib down, but he always finds his way. He always gets a link somewhere. So I'm glad you're here. You always have viewpoints that make me think. So thanks for being here.
Well, somebody's got to counteract your Nebraska niceness with, North Carolina meanness.
Are you the yang to my yin? Is that what you're saying?
Oh, crap.
You complete me. All right. And
I just can't
hope there
quit
are no
you.
Brokeback Sandhills out there.
Oh, geez.
I am secure in my heterosexuality. It's all good. All right. And last but not least, Travis P11. Thanks for always being here to help wrangle everybody.
Dude, it's good times. A great show. Tuesday night. Good stuff. Again, just make sure you guys subscribe to everybody here that you see on the panel. They got great content. Check out my channel, Travis P11 on YouTube and gunchannels.com. Also, Caliber Corner, Saturday mornings, 8 a.m. Central Time. Podcast that we got over on gunchannels.com. It will be moving to Thursday evenings from 5 to 7 Central Time starting in April. So it's going to be a little bit of a switch. So it's going to be changed for everybody, but I don't really have a choice. So that's what we're going to do.
All right. That's all right. I will join as much as I can. Sometimes I work till 7, so I won't always be able to be there, but I'll catch every one of them for sure. So yeah, make sure you keep up with the time and date change on Caliber Corner. And then I believe everybody on our panel has a channel over on Gunstreamer. I want to get people as much as we can over to Gunstreamer, just because YouTube is great, but we never know from one day to the next, how much longer we're going to be able to do stuff on YouTube. So Gunstreamer and Gun Channels, both guntube.org also, those aren't going away, and they're not going to do anything bad to you for posting videos with firearms in them. So make sure you check those places out, and if you're not on any of them, you should be. So go check everybody out there. And again, check us out right here Tuesday nights, 9 o'clock Central Time, which is really the only time zone that matters because we're right in the center of it all. But not everybody in Maryland agrees, apparently. Thanks, everybody, for joining us. And I know Seven Wonders was saying how much must we donate to go another hour. You're going to have to donate somebody who can talk another hour, because my throat's about to get too dry, and it's going to give out, and I'm about out of water. So I think we're just gonna call it. But we've got a couple lively chats planned here in the future. I think maybe next week we're going to talk a little bit about some concealed carry or open carry do's and don'ts. And then I think we're going to try something new. We'll try it out the last Tuesday of March and see if it works well. We'll try it every Tuesday, last Tuesday. But we're not going to have a panel on that last Tuesday. We're just going to have Sandhills Sweetheart and myself, and just do kind of a viewer-driven chat where it's more of a Q&A and people can just talk to us, and we'll address what happens out in the chat, and kind of the same thing that like Never Enough Ammo does on Sunday afternoons, something kind of like that. And if I can work it right, we will do it on YouTube and gun channels, of course, simulcast, and then we'll also do it on Facebook Live. And so we'll see if we can make that happen.
I was just going to say something that, my son, Hill Climb, Ohio, JB,
Yeah.
I told him about Gunstreamer, and Gunstreamer's open to, they don't care. Gunstreamer's named Gunstreamer because, well, but they don't care. What content do you have? He went over, started his channel, and now he's got a channel on Gunstreamer. And
Absolutely.
yes, my kid is pro 2A and blah, 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 but it's he'll climb, like Gunstreamer doesn't care. And it's
That's
named,
right. They'll take anything that's not pornography or nudity.
right. It's named Gunstreamer because, well, us gun people on YouTube have been discriminated against, so they started a channel called Gunstreamer. But they don't care. They don't care.
Yep, go put whatever up there you want to. Whether it's,
exactly.
Ben of Tools, go ahead and do that. Joe Smith, if you're not on Gunstreamer, you guys should check that out.
Yes.
The cool thing about Gunstreamer is I've got it set up to where whatever I post on YouTube, Gunstreamer automatically pulls that, and it's usually within a couple hours. Excuse me.
Yeah,
so I don't even have to
yes,
do anything to Gunstreamer. My stuff all goes over there automatically. It's really slick, and I know that they've got they're growing this platform. There's only 4 or 5 people that work on this, and they all have full-time jobs too. So they're growing this as they can and funding it out of pocket as much as they can. And so the more people that we have on there, the more apt they are to be able to get people to advertise, and they can make some ad revenue and things like that to keep the channel going. And everything just kind of builds, right? They've got a mobile app on Android and iPhone, so you can put the app on your phone. They'll keep improving that as the money comes in. They're eventually going to do a live stream option as well. But again, it all takes time. It all takes money. So make sure that again that we help them. Just attract advertisers by having more and more people there all the time. Not just having a channel, but go watch the videos on there too. That makes a difference too. So, all right. Having said that, you can check us out over there. And again, I haven't talked about it much. Gunstreamer does what they call Contribute Us, which is kind of the same as a Patreon, where you can join up for $1 a month or 5 or 10 or whatever people set. We have done that. I haven't talked about it much, but anybody that wants to help us out and help with sound equipment and video equipment for the channel, that money goes back into that kind of stuff too. So the only thing is, there's no camera in the world is going to make me any better looking. So that's not going to happen. You can donate all you want, but Sandhills ain't getting any prettier. That's why he's got Sandhills Sweetheart, because she's the pretty half of this marriage.
I was just gonna say I'd give you $100,000, but you're still gonna be ugly, and your wife
it ain't gonna help.
Better looking than you.
Yep, and you can't convince her to go on the videos. And I know that we'd get way more viewers if we had somebody pretty instead of me to look at. But this is what you get. So.
Dude, that is so true. We are wasting our time in this right now. She should push you over and take over and hijack the podcast, get that super chat money, and then go another hour. All right,
that's what needs to happen.
Boom, that's it. We should do like 2 rounds of this. We got the Sandhills Shooter and then the Sandhills Sweetheart that takes over for like the second half.
That's the way it ought to be.
Yeah,
absolutely.
Just busting into the second set of topics. So yeah.
All right. Well, thanks everybody for joining us. With that, we'll go ahead and sign off. And of course, we will say bye, Felicia. And also, God bless y'all. Thanks for being here.